And I mean, the teaser was quite literally dope.
Quite dope, I must say.
He didn't has a specific word for the teaser.
See, I like look. I mean, I shouldn't be saying this. I shouldn't be saying this,
Yeah,
but
that's
it
okay.
has. See, there's some content that's just so testosterone filled.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wiser Together. This is your host, Parmeet Kumar, and as always, I'm joined with my brother and the co host of this podcast, Anas Pasha. And we
Hey,
have
Nitin,
a
how are
very
you?
love good, bro, all good. We also have a lovely guest joining us today, a very good friend of ours, Heeral Shivnani. I'll do a quick intro for you, Heeral, and then you can go on and introduce yourself, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank
Uh,
you, thank you.
so Heeral is a nutritionist by profession. She's also a part-time dancer.
Part-time dancer.
Yeah, because it's not. Yeah, she's also an entrepreneur, and she does a bunch of stuff around nutrition, which we're very excited to explore. But do you wanna give an introduction?
Go ahead, Hiran.
Okay, well, he said the main stuff, but yes, to add more context to that, I am a clinical nutritionist by profession. That's what I do. But I also help food companies create healthier products. I help them create a healthier brand, and I use a lot of my marketing and design skills to do that alongside my nutrition skills. So it's a really holistic way of making people eat better food, right? Because you're also helping them pick healthier products from the market. So it's a whole cycle. I guess I'm involved in every part of the human health cycle. And then, of course, as he mentioned, I am also a part time. I wouldn't say I'm a dancer. I would say I'm a dance enthusiast. Come on. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a skilled or trained dancer. I've never gone to dance school. I've never, done like 10 years of ballet or, what people
You do
do.
go to dance school.
Yeah, you do.
No.
And actually, I was right after Ramadan, I was planning on joining her at her dance school. So
Yes.
that is what is going to
That
happen.
that
And
would be
no, and
lovely.
no, like credit where it's due. She is I mean, like she's a phenomenal dancer. There
I
are.
didn't know you were like wanted to explore this side as well. I had no idea
Yes, I
that.
think I've really influenced Anas to,
Oh yeah, this happened when
yeah.
one because you see when I met her, I had no idea. I mean, of course, on the top of the surface, when you have a conversation with someone,
Yeah.
like she told me that she studied from Berkeley and that she does this and that, and she's an entrepreneur, like mashallah, so many things. But when actually she showed her dance videos, and I was like blown away, and I was like, I always wanted to because I can't dance to save my own life. Like, if someone put a gun to my head, I can't. I'm so static, horrible, terrifying. Like it's just
Yeah, I really haven't seen.
yeah.
I haven't seen you actually like
I hope
move.
you never see
I
me
mean,
dance.
now that you're putting yourself in the soup, I guess
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to collaborate at some point.
Exactly, and,
Yeah.
she goes to the dance studio like as Prameet said, phenomenal dancer, and they have everything proper set up. She has a dance teacher who she is always on about and is
Yeah.
always talking about. So let's see how that goes. Yeah.
It's important to, I think, be part of a community which
Yeah.
allows you to practice and hone your craft. Otherwise, it's just like, you're trying to, create something by yourself in your bedroom, and it just gets really monotonous and boring, and it's
Yeah.
it's not as, stimulating. And so yes, I think going to a class, going to, taking a few sessions in a week for your
You do
activity, really, really, yeah,
you do
I think
definitely
it's
take it
there.
seriously because
Yeah.
You're kind of underselling yourself here. You definitely take it seriously. You were famous on YouTube as well because of your
I swear, and
dance
just
videos.
a quick thing. A friend of mine and yours as well, Kushi, she visited us in Dubai, and when all of us met, and you were there as well, right? So
Yeah,
she on our way back, so she said that she knew here, and she knew because of this one particular song, and she must have searched it up on YouTube, and there's always like people with their covers and dance covers over there, and here
Mm.
was one of them. So she's transcending boundaries, like borders already.
Oh
So
gosh, oh gosh.
it's a
yeah.
dominating characteristic for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, given that I don't post that consistently, and neither do I like put in so many
That's
hours.
your problem. I've told you so many times. You're not consistent, and that's why you're not able to reach your full potential. Yeah, you can hold.
For me,
But
it's, for me, for me, it's word of the year for me is consistency. Like he
yeah,
finds it so hard to correlate me with consistency because that really is my problem. But
because I really see what you're capable of, but then obviously, I don't know, life happens, or you're maybe not as.
hmm,
Sometimes I see you're very, very focused, and then you produce these
hmm.
amazing videos of dancing and nutrition and tips and whatnot, but
Yeah,
there's no consistency, right? So
yeah.
you need to be consistent. And that when we started this as well, I told Anas, and we had this discussion that,
Hmm.
and we
Yeah.
decided that we need to be consistent. We're going to do this every week, no matter what. And I'm glad that we're able to uphold that and do that continuously. So I want the same for you, basically.
100%. And but one thing that's come out of this entire process, where I've taken a few years of slowing down and doing things slowly, is that I had the chance to really think, what is it that I really want to be consistent on? Because there are so many things, right? As we discussed, I mean, I've got all these different passions and pursuits going on. Um, and it's really helped me zone down to things in a way where I realized I don't want to just put out dance content. If you're talking
Hmm.
about the creative side of things, I want to show so many other other creative talents that I believe I want to pursue. um, and so yeah, I think the good thing that's come out of taking it slow is that I know better what I want to present myself as. So now, if I were to do things consistently as PK wants me to, i should uh, I should have a more holistic view of how it's supposed to go.
No, definitely not. I mean, like even
Yeah.
for us, I mean, I would say you're the most senior person here in
Senior
terms of
person.
content creation. I mean,
Not for
I
long.
started last year, and it also took me a while. And now
Yeah.
I'm just so happy with Parmeet as well as to how like he came up with this idea, this vision, and now we're here. So, how about you? How long did it take for you to decide to take this route, and
Hmm.
specifically this route? Because
I
for the life of me, I never, having known you for the past 10 years, I never thought that we would end up here, you and I
Yeah.
co-hosting the podcast and doing this. So, what was your journey like?
Yeah, I always wanted to like find a way to share my life. I was never really excited about the concept or idea of doing a YouTube or vlogging, or I know I wanted to share, but I just wanted to find the right medium, right? And honestly speaking, few years ago, I genuinely didn't have that level of confidence, or I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But uh, in the past 6 months, I started exploring with this. And then, as you already know, we did a project deep dive. I did one with each of you individually. And then I went for my retreat after that. So I really thought about and worked it out. And podcasting is something, it's not even podcasting. I just really like having meaningful conversations that are around this, topic of discussion. So podcasting is the most similar thing to that context, having conversations with friends, having meaningful conversations with friends. So that's why I wanted to start, and that's how I see it. So
how are you like processing the entire thing? So as you know, that we released our trailer and then a couple of clips and everything. So
Which
how's
is
that for you? For me, this is something I'm familiar with. We were having this conversation last night as well. For me, this is something familiar with. I'm sort of like, because I had my own YouTube channel, and then I've back in high school, I've also had a music band as well.
I didn't know
So
this.
Yeah.
What the
there
hell?
is. I'll show you the video. The video is to NSFW to be shown over
To
here or to anyone.
NSFW.
So it's
To
something I'll show you.
NSFW. Wait, what does
Yeah,
that stand for?
not suitable for work.
Oh my god.
So,
Okay.
but what about you? How are you dealing with things like your friends sharing it? And I mean, the teaser was quite literally dope.
Quite dope, I must say. Quite
Heeral
dope.
has a specific word for the teaser.
See, I like, look, I mean, I shouldn't be saying this. I shouldn't be saying this,
Yeah,
but
that's
it
okay.
has. See, there's some content that's just so testosterone filled. I like that's just what comes to me. Like it's just like, okay.
I'll tell you the reaction. So we were meeting for a friend's birthday, and
Yeah.
and when everyone was dispersed, like I pull up my phone and then I put on the teaser, and then like her hair were properly made,
My head.
and yeah, her hair were properly made, and this is something I distinctively like because you could see the before and after. So her hair were properly made, and then when I showed her the teaser, because I was also engaged at it, and then I looked at her and her hair was literally blown away. I was like, what happened now? Right now,
And not just hello, not just me, okay?
Uh-huh.
Even our other female friend who was there, like her jaws dropped.
She's
Like
too kind. She's too kind. But
I
we
mean
can
that.
we
I'm,
keep diverging.
we keep
Yeah.
diverging.
yeah, no, it good. It worked. I mean, that was the intention. So we did. I mean, coming back to your question, honestly, like we were very overwhelmed by the response and the support of everyone, and we had such good friends, and you and me both, and everybody like kind of, you know, supported us a lot in a way. And coming back to the reaction, how I deal with all of this, I've just try to be more observant and try and detach myself from the result and focus more on the process. And share some of my journaling journals with Anas, and this was
Yes.
one of them that I shared with you, that I have to constantly remind myself, and it's a work in progress. It is always going to be, right, that constantly remind myself to just focus on the process and come back to why we started and why I wanted to do this, and that was just to have meaningful conversations which bring value to me primarily. And then uh, it has other secondary benefits as well. If it helps someone, then that's the intention. But that's how I deal with it. You guys are pretty well versed with it. But honestly, like if I was doing this 1 year ago, I don't think I'll be able to do it in this way, or I'll be able to. I would have been able to be as observant as I am now. So I think the timing is perfect.
Totally. I think speaking of timing, like I always
I
say,
swear, yeah.
something always good comes out of even waiting and taking the space to develop, right? He spoke
Yeah,
about confidence, right? Confidence, some people have confidence at the age of 16 to do this
I
kind of
swear,
stuff,
yeah.
right?
yeah,
And
exactly.
some people are out there putting themselves, putting their content on social media without any sense of restraint. But for others it might take longer, and we spoke about this, right, about timelines. I mean, everybody has a different rate at which they get comfortable in their own skin, in their own voice. um,
And
and
that's okay.
honestly, I mean, yeah, I mean, when you live life a little bit more, you experience more, you have a better perspective. So that's never a waste. It's always good to have a stronger perspective and more experience.
Absolutely, and I feel
Yeah.
like Praneeth shared his journaling like it was so well written.
I haven't seen
And
it. Again, I haven't seen this. I don't know what he writes in his
it's
remarkable
amazing, and,
book.
and it actually caught me by surprise because you see, so since I mean, since ever I've known him, he's not been the one to share. He's not been the one to express that much. But now I see that he has developed this sort of expression
Yeah.
which is just so in tune, which is just so harmonized with what we're doing right now, and everything connects so perfectly. So in that, he had written a lot of things which I could relate to, and of course, he was looking at those things from his point of view. But this is what I told him as well, that there are so many things that I can relate to as well. And the important thing, like he mentioned, is to just keep on focusing on the process, because these are just gratifications which come, and actually this is what the entire lifestyle is about as well, like delaying the gratification and picking those gratifications which are actually worth it, like like the bigger milestones in our journey.
Yeah.
So it's just very important to stay grounded. And about timing, I think it couldn't have been perfect. Like Parmeet coming into this, me coming into this, and then meeting you as well, and then uh, all three of us having this trinity is just amazing. Like the support between all three of us is also truly tremendous. And
Absolutely.
thank you so much for even taking time out for doing this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. This is the third time we're attending this.
Okay, the world should know. The world
Yeah.
deserves to know.
And none of
No,
us are perfect.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
even
it's
now for
Yeah.
setting this up, we're like 1 hour delayed, but it is what it is, and we hope that this would be the one that gets aired. So
No, I mean,
yeah.
I really do think that at some point, like, you just have to do again this whole thing
Yes,
about, okay, when it's go time, it's go time. And it
100%.
doesn't
It's
matter if it's like, yeah, 90% there, but it's there. It's good enough to go out, right?
yeah, like from get-go as well, I just wanted to be, and we discussed this, and Anas agreed, and we had a similar approach on this, that we wanted to be very authentic and transparent. And just re-recording the episode again and again didn't really sit right with me or Anas. But it's just we had audio issues and this and that, but that wasn't the intention to do it again, because the content wasn't right, because I wanted to be, and Anas agrees on that as well, that it should be spontaneous, it should be authentic, it should be transparent, it shouldn't be premeditated or anything like that. So we really didn't want to do it again, but the audio was just, I wasn't, we had a long discussion on this. And but going forward, as we know now what mistakes not to make in terms of production, because we don't really know much around uh, the technicalities of producing this. But from now on, obviously, we just want to, like, whatever we record, we do. And one of the life policies that we discussed about life policies in the last episode, and one of the life policies me and Anas share is, uh, and I read this in one of the books, it's called do something principle, and it just means just doing and not contemplating or overthinking too much. Just as if you keep taking action more and more and more, it's gonna lead to something substantial eventually.
how has that, like from the top of your head, how has that basically improved the quality of your life? If I were to ask, like, on the top of your head, this true
I,
principle.
I think it helps because i- if I'm doing, then if when I start contemplating, I'm giving my mind the power to get my attention. And kind of there's like a friction in a way, right? And the more attention I give it, the more I contemplate, the more I go far from the idea of doing and taking action. But now I realized, when I decide, or when something comes to me that has something that needs to be done, I just go ahead and just, take action rather than sitting on it and thinking too much about it. Because then that changes your approach, and it kind of, so you get an empty glass, you're filling it with more and more and more doubt, rather than just going and taking action. So the more attention you give to the mind, the more excuses it's going to give to you to not take a certain action, unless it's a pleasure seeking action, right? If you're seeking pleasure, then the mind will go the opposite way. But something uncomfortable, the mind is going to try and.
I mean, that's what I get to learn from both you boys constantly, and that's why I need you guys around me all the time because
We need you as well.
I mean, I have my own perks and pros, yes, but I am an overthinker. I'm a compulsive
You
overthinker.
are.
Not, I am, and analysis
This is what I
paralysis.
love about him. He's just so honest. He's just
He's
so out
so
there.
blunt.
I would never. I would be like, she is. I know that she is.
Yeah, but he
But
will.
let me get some chocolate sprinkles and let me get
Yes,
some whipped
yes,
cream inside and then
yes.
sip. But he's like, this is good for your health. Rip the bandage off.
Yeah,
This is what it is. This is what I love about him. He's
yeah.
just and like it takes because we're working as a team, right?
Mhm.
And it takes a certain mindset to work with every kind of individual.
Yeah.
But this is Alhamdulillah, like I would say, having to know him for so many years, he has nothing but good intentions for us in our
Correct,
hearts.
correct.
And he wouldn't even say these things if he didn't care.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean. People who are straightforward will take the difficult path of being straightforward if they really
That's
care
right,
about
yeah.
saying something, because
Absolutely.
it takes guts to say, you're doing this wrong, or this can be improved.
Yeah.
So yeah, it shows he cares.
How
It
did this happen? And
it's
has anyone ever said this to you
That
as
he's
well?
yeah.
Yeah, I hear this all the time, and I know this about myself, and I like taking this approach, and this is the only approach that I feel comfortable taking. And a, sometimes maybe it might not sound the same coming from a different person, but it depends on what your intentions are, and people can see through that. But because I genuinely come from the right intentions and say it in that regard, people generally receive it well. But then again, I inside know that what my intentions are, so I just like being very black and white and straightforward. And with Heeral
We like to be
specifically,
black and white as well.
yeah, and I'm glad that you guys understand that as well. With Heeral specifically, like coming back to she overthinking, it's it's not just now. We spoke yesterday. I told her every time we speak, she can probably remember me telling this to her all the time because I see her doing this. And I feel like change comes from acceptance that there is something that needs to change. Once you accept that, then you can sort of create a platform for that to manifest that change, right? And one of the ways that I want to, I care, and uh, one of the ways I did that was I gave you a book which I really wanted to talk about as well.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Oh
So
yes, yes.
just
Which
to
he
yeah,
yeah.
so I gave Heeral one of the books. It's one of my favorite books. I've given it to over 10 people, and it's
Yeah.
just
The
something
power of
really
now.
power of now. Yes, we gave it to Reber as well, but that's a different story. We'll talk about that later. But
Lovely
uh,
guy.
yeah,
Love
I
that
gave
guy.
it to Heeral in December. Heeral, I gave it to you January, December.
No, you gave it in Jan end before you left to Australia.
I left mid Jan, so I gave it to you
Mid Jan,
before
yeah.
that. Yeah, around 10,
Mm.
15 Jan. Anyway, and I kept checking up on her, are you reading or not? And she read like a chapter
Yeah.
in.
He's that person. He will give you a gift and make sure that you use it. Like he's
That
that
is the
person.
best.
You know?
That is the best.
No, I gave it to her and I'm like, I want you to read this. And she's like, oh, this is so good. I'm really going to read this and stuff. I'm like,
Okay,
okay,
so what's up?
Yeah.
now
How
I'm going
many
to hold
pages?
you accountable. No, I want to finish first because she didn't read much in 6 weeks and she only read like a chapter or two. And then we had a conversation last month and she's like, Permeet, I really want you to hold me accountable. I'm like, okay, now this is going to be a nightmare for you, but I'm going to hold you accountable. She wanted
Nice.
1 month and I put it in my calendar, and that month one was gonna be 24th of March, but then she was like, okay, let's push it to 1st April. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay. And throughout I reminded her, you have this many
This
days
first
left.
April.
It is first April, yes.
So now that we're in April, we had a conversation yesterday and I wanted to check with
I
her, but
finished
I
seven
saved that.
okay.
Oh,
7
okay, that's good.
chapters and
How
I
many
didn't
is
take
there? 12?
time.
11? How
I
many
don't
chapters?
remember. I
Okay,
don't remember.
but I wanna know what how your experience was. Did you like it? What did you learn?
First, of course, I think the content is incredible. I see why this is one of your favorite books, because it I felt a sense of peace even just reading it. Like there are solutions to my problems.
Hmm.
Like you're reading something and you like, wow, okay, this is making sense, this can be fixed, this, it creates that positivity as you're reading it.
Yeah.
But I also realized one thing, like when you're teaching people about spirituality, right, or you're encouraging somebody to learn more about spirituality, there are two types of people. There are people who can read something abstract, as this book is. It's very abstract. It's
Yeah.
concepts, it's theories,
Yeah. True.
and they then relate it to their own anecdotes, their own life, their own stories to make sense of it.
Hmm.
And that's an ability to have that. And then there are some people who might struggle with abstract content like this. They need the stories to be in the book. They need the writer to create a world, to create characters,
I
create,
understand.
real
Yeah.
people. Like, I mean, for example, I was raised, reading stories from Hindu mythology.
Hmm.
And from those stories, you're supposed to extract the
Those
spiritual
concepts, yeah,
ideas.
for
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
So I come from that world, but I also am comfortable with abstract reading and able to create my own stories in my head. So I think that was very interesting for me to realize that if I were to, share this book with another friend of mine, I would have to think, will she or he really be able to grasp it? Or do they need something more
That's
story
very
based?
insightful. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, I
I
wanted
think
to really
Anas
tell you
is.
this
I
because,
think Anas is like that as well. You relate more to stories as well, right?
yeah.
No, I actually I would I would actually prefer the more abstract reading.
Format.
Hmm,
The
Yeah.
reason being
interesting.
because okay, so I understand what Rishi's coming from.
Hmm.
The book 5 a.m. Club is more like that.
Okay.
It
It's a
has
story,
it's a
right?
story,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a story, and the way the writer has written it is in just a manner that is just digestible. Is
Hmm.
something that you can follow along, and each character is basically just incorporating those principles.
Yeah.
So for me, when you add like a story element to it,
Hmm.
I don't know, because to me these ideas are just so grand. It's just
Hmm.
actually they're supposed to be digested in the most abstract sense, because when you add these two characters, I just felt like it just becomes a little fictional. It becomes as
Hmm.
if, okay, oh, there's a guy, who can do this, who can do that, who can
Yeah,
blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah.
it's a
And
fair
when
point.
like the
Yeah.
writer picks up their pen, they can write like it's just endless.
Hmm.
Your imagination is just whatever that comes to your mind.
Yeah.
I feel like concepts like these, when they're put into those abstract, those practical sense. But yes, granted, it's
Hmm.
totally fair that you have to read each page quite carefully,
Yeah, you have to pay
and yeah,
attention.
and
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
pay attention, and then exactly like what the book is about is
Yeah.
just being present over there and not thinking about anything else. But that is
Yes.
when you understand the practicality of those concepts, and then you can apply it to your life. So while reading the 5 a.m. club, before even that, I was part of the 4:30 a.m. club.
Oh.
So, so I was like 5 a.m. Okay, this is 4:30 right here. But the point was it was reading the book was so surreal, because everything that they were doing I was doing. So the book talks about how you wake up, you have your gym clothes ready, you have your gratitude journal ready, you have your day sorted out from last night. You don't pick up your phone, you don't check up your mails until 1 or 2 hours have passed. You don't have caffeine for the first 15-20 minutes. And I was like, dude, I didn't have to read any book to do this. I was already doing this. So when I was reading that, it was just such a surreal experience. I was having fun. I was having fun. But in terms of learning, in terms of having an impact, if I were probably not been doing the 4:30 a.m. routine, it wouldn't have had such a big impact, because to me the characters over there were fictional, but at the same time they were just doing so many extraordinary things. The guy is a billionaire, Mr. Riley. He has his own island. He's doing this, he's doing that. But
Yeah. It is fictional. Yeah.
average person can't relate to that. An average person does not have that routine,
Yeah.
does not have that many resources available to them. An average
Yeah.
person is me. So if I was doing that beforehand, before reading that book, um, And then if I hadn't been doing this and had read like an abstract version of this, I would have then picked up those principles and then added those to my life. So that's why, having been both side of what you guys are mentioning, I feel like these books are just the way that they're supposed to be. And yani, the only thing is like, because I am a bad reader as well, I struggle. I have an attention span of about 10 seconds, just like a goldfish. So I've had to create that attention span. Yeah. So for these books, it's hard work.
It
so I
is,
get
it
why
is.
you are saying it, but I'm again, we're so proud. We're so proud.
You should be proud, because you know what goes on
Yeah.
in my head is that when I'm reading a book that someone's given to me, and I find this very, like, it's very lovely thing about gifting somebody a book, right? When I'm
Yeah.
reading something in my head, I'm thinking, wow, okay, Parmeet has also read this.
Exactly.
What must he be thinking about this specific sentence, or like what
That's
was
the
going through
overthinking
his.
in you. That's the
That is
overthinking in you.
everything in me.
Yeah.
But okay, like when it's like a fictional book, like it's just it's a way two people can connect. I look at it that way. That's what I was trying to say.
Yes,
That
yes, true.
it's
Yeah.
a, you know, like I feel like, okay, this person has experienced the same thoughts, and now I'm experiencing the same thoughts because he has shared this with me. So it's just a lovely little, way to just get
It
to
is,
the know.
and why do you think like
Yeah.
gifting a book is like such a good idea for a gift?
I think it's very nice. I
Yeah.
think it's. I actually didn't
I
realize it
yeah.
until he gifted it to me. Yeah.
I do it a lot, and Anas and me have exchanged some as well, and I do it with other friends as well. I just feel like it's you just kind of want to see the value you got out of it yourself. You kind of want to share that in a way, and I feel like just constantly preaching and just it's maybe not
Hmm.
well received, but if you give them a book and they willingly pick it up and start reading it, in Viral's case it wasn't as willingly as it should have been. I had to but me and Heeral have that comfort level that we can do
Yes.
that, and she understands that, so she doesn't like she receives it well, which I
I
appreciate as
received it.
well. But I think
Yeah.
she made a very the insight she gave was very good, because if you think about it,
Absolutely.
like the 5 a.m. club one is more like a storytelling thing, but I
Yeah.
I think if you genuinely just learn the concepts and the foundation of it and just understand the equation, you can then apply it to your own scenario, in your to your own context, to your own life, in your own ways,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So that's why I
The,
see more value in that personally, but I understand why some people might be able to relate more to stories and then, get value out of that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, whoever gets the most value out of whichever medium.
100%. And I think that because this is the path that he's going on to, where he wants to spread spiritual knowledge to people, um, it's really valuable for him to assess that what is that person's learning style. Is that
Yeah.
person a visual learner? Do they prefer hearing it from you directly, just you telling them things?
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, I really think this is something you should
What is
read more on.
your idea
Huh.
of a good gift?
For good gift. Hmm.
I can say one. She's Heeral is she gifted me tea, which was amazing,
Oh,
and I just every time having that, I just send her a picture as well, and it's very thoughtful.
Oh,
So that's
what? What? Sorry, I didn't catch
So
that.
when I was coming to Australia, she knows I really like chamomile tea. So she gave me chamomile tea from Just Nourished, which is her brand. And that tea isn't really launched or anything. It's not one of the products she hosts on in her brand, but she made it for me, and that was very, very, very thoughtful. And
putting the tea in the tea bags, not like loose tea
Yeah,
leaves.
yeah, yeah.
Putting
yeah,
it in tea bags
My God,
individually,
that's individually.
yeah, and
and
that
it
really
all
touched my
packs.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yes, I think a gift is something that the person should, of course, they should remember you when they use it or they look at it like a book, right? I kept
yeah,
thinking, okay, Parmeet wants me to read this. He wants me to think of these ideas. So it builds that connection. And yeah, tea is a great way because he kept thinking of me every time he drank the tea.
That is amazing. That is a very good idea, especially when it's your
Yeah.
own brand.
Yes, yes. And it's the first, I gave him the first prototype. The
Yeah, and it
first,
was amazing.
This episode is sponsored by just Nourish, and
I
Just
mean, that's
married.
just a tentative brand name. We might change it up, but
we
yeah,
will just put it up
Sponsored
right here,
sponsored by Just Nourish.
the top
We,
left corner.
sponsors.
we're gonna be invoicing you here.
Next time we will have a tea. We will have
Yeah.
teacups
Yeah,
placed here with
you
like that.
should have had some sort of yeah, but it's fine. Maybe
Yeah,
next time.
we
You're
would.
gonna be
We
I think out of respect for Ramadan and for me,
yes. Oh,
this
for
will
him, yes, out
happen.
of respect.
yeah,
No,
Yeah,
no, I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
Yes, but
yeah.
no
But next time, yeah, for sure we're having.
finishing touches.
Even like for me right now, I would normally never do this. I would normally never be this active without being caffeinated. It's just unfortunate. There is nothing that I am addicted to except for caffeine. It is terrible. It has come down to this. It's quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. We need caffeine in our lives. Without it, it's very, very much. It's very dismal. But
Anas, I will
but
have to find solutions for you.
but dude, even right now, I'm pretty normal. This is pretty
Have
interesting.
you?
That's fantastic.
You must be fasting, right?
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So
No,
obviously have an
I think
extra.
caffeine is a whole psychological game. I mean,
No.
it's a psychological game on us.
No.
I
It is
have okay.
not.
I have a process as a nutritionist dietitian. There are things that I do to help people get off caffeine.
I don't want to get off caffeine.
I call it my
Love caffeine.
it's my decaffeination process which I follow.
Yeah.
It's a stage by stage process.
My God,
For me,
this
it's
sounds like an
weird.
intervention.
I
This sound, this sounds like an intervention. This sounds like a druggie is being prescribed
Yes. This
process.
this podcast makes us all realize that we need therapy for different reasons. So
But
we're
no,
getting to
what if
that.
I don't want to? I love coffee. I love
Sure, but it
caffeine.
should not be that your day doesn't get kick started without it. It should not be like that. That's wrong. It's again it's dependence on
yeah
something, right?
I
yeah.
know, but it's just chemicals. It's not a person or anything.
Person? Okay.
It's
According to
just
Anas, people are the worst addiction. He's like, you should just not get
guys. This is
addicted.
off air
That's
topic. This is
true. That's true.
Okay.
That's very wise.
this is off air stuff.
He'd rather be addicted to coffee, but not to a person. Now, what
You
to
know,
do?
I was never really into coffee, but when I came to Australia and I started having Australian coffee, I just want to put it out there. No country makes coffee like Australia does. And the
Of
coffee culture
course.
here is on another level, and the coffee you get here is oh my god, and I really really like it. But I don't know, every time I have coffee my heart rate goes to like 150 or whatnot.
What is
And
amazing about it? Like it makes you feel alive.
but for me it's different, like I just feel like I'm getting a heart attack. I don't know, it's so weird. I really like the taste of coffee and like
That
having it,
is
but I don't know, it's just weird. And I don't know if it's caffeine or what, because I do
no,
take
it's
caffeine
healthy.
from other sources like Red Bull or whatnot, but that doesn't have the same effect on me that coffee
Well,
does.
I'm gonna search about that
Yeah,
actually.
some people are
There are different types
sensitive.
of coffee. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
some
sure.
people are very
Yeah.
sensitive to coffee.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, especially if you're like prone to having anxious reactions
Oh
to,
yeah, yeah.
things, you should not be consuming caffeine at that level.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I get very very
No
anxious.
coffee, no PK.
So
That's why I gave him a pack of chamomile tea, no? It's the complete opposite.
It's the complete opposite.
yeah
Yeah, it brings you calm and
yeah
everything.
It's calmer.
Like the other day, I was driving back and it was a long drive. I watched an entire documentary about Australia, like how it was made. It was pretty interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like how it was one of the most last lands to be ever found, and I just want to put it out there. I'm sure, like I mean, everyone knows Australia as a land where prisoners were kept by the British,
yeah,
the
it
British
used to be a
Parliament.
prison. Yeah
Yeah, but in fact, actually, this was their strategy. This was their strategy to colonize. So
yeah
actually, these were not like hard criminals. these were people who, like, for example, you and I, like, we defaulted on our loan, or we, like, we were involved in a mild robbery or anything like that, and we were put to jail, right? And they were put to jail to purpose to basically have people from the British Empire who could basically colonize, like be present over there and like help in building the colonies. So it's actually wasn't like a savagery sort of a situation where like hard or like criminals were there or anything like that. It was just people who were charged of crimes, who were indicted, but at the same time were also like that, like their salvation was with helping to build the colony. And this
Yeah.
is how Australia's population grew, and it's a fantastic country now. I mean, come on, like it's amazing, such a wonderful country.
I
So
honestly love it
it's
so
such an
much.
interesting documentary, though.
Yeah. Share it with me. I wanna watch
How
it.
have you been liking it over there now?
I honestly love it. I was very kind of on the fence about coming here or not initially, and then I thought to myself, I'll just try it out, and I don't know, the timing was just so right in the sense that I went to Nepal before for that monk retreat thingy before coming here, and then I think that just set the intention so well, and I started focusing on the right things, and the kind of things I wanted to find I was able to find here, which was culture, and people are so kind and nice, everyone's looking after you. You go to a place, you go to a grocery store, you go to a restaurant, this is common practice here. You ask them, "Hi, how are you doing? How's your day going?" You say a bit about the weather, maybe a bit of small talk, but it just goes to it just shows that there's that sense of community here, and the coffee place you go to every day, and your barber and whatnot, and like that sense of community is very strong here. And even though I live in like central CBD area in Sydney. This is much more stronger in the outskirts and in Melbourne and other parts because Sydney is very metropolitan. But I just genuinely
Finally,
like it very
this
much.
point of socializing that you're saying,
Yeah.
that is just so important. I did this online course on the joy of happiness, and in that instructor told us that basically when you make these indirect connections, like these cold connections, when you convert them into a warm connection, just like how Parmeet is explaining, when you go to a coffee shop, or like even simply when you're in an elevator and someone comes in, they wish you a good morning, or even when they smile at you, that particular person is, in that first instant cold. Like, you don't
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
right? They're like cold, cold. But when they crack a smile or when they wish you something, instantly they just become warm. They just become like a good vibe, a good energy,
Yeah.
like in that environment with you, because um, a lot of people don't do that. And
Hmm.
at least, for example, in our culture, like hailing from Pakistan, we
Yeah,
don't,
it's
there's no concept of such a thing, like
Yeah.
remotely. And
and I'm glad that I grew up in that culture because then you can differentiate. For people here, it's normal to see that.
absolutely,
I haven't
absolutely.
come from that, and we haven't come from that. So coming from that and coming to this, then you're able to really differentiate and appreciate these
Do
things.
you
And
think why these countries rank higher in the happiness index more than our countries, like the South Asian countries? Like I know India and Pakistan
I
both share
think
the similar, like towards the end spectrum of happiness.
I think there is a lot of reasons. Obviously, there's quality of life and all of that things as well. But I think the underlying thing is that in our countries, and I'm not trying to hate or anything. This is just comes from a perspective that
No, it's factual. It's factual as
is
well.
factual, and like we need to be able to understand and accept to for that, then to create a solution or a platform to create a solution. So I think the underlying thing is that there, if you see someone doing good, people are very envious, but here they're supportive. Do you know what I mean? And that's energy in a way, right?
Yeah.
Uh, like you were
Correct.
talking about before as well, just smiling to someone on the street, asking them, "Hi, how are you?" You're exchanging energy, and
Yeah.
it's something so minor, but it has a carry on effect. Everything is energy.
Yeah, it's like I know the guy
Yeah.
now. It's like it's
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
yeah.
And I've noticed, I realized that after a point, you as a person, you embody the culture. Let's say Parmeet comes back from Australia now, right? And he goes to visit Pakistan.
Yeah.
He will behave in the way that Australians do because he's carrying that. He's carrying that energy now. And I believe in that completely. I mean, it'll shock the person that how is this guy being so nice to me?
Exactly.
Why is he being so nice
Yeah.
to me? But then that's what will differentiate him from the others.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Do you think like when you do that, like in our cultures,
yeah.
like they think that we have an ulterior motive for doing so?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like they think that because that's not the norm there, it's not normal practice. So if you do something that's not a norm, it just sounds very fishy. It looks fishy. And coming back to you, I when I go back home, I am not able to carry the same energy, to be honest, because the surrounding doesn't
Mm.
allow for that energy to be created. Uh, and I just don't. Here, I feel myself. I feel in my element. I feel in my zone. When I go back home and the interactions of the people I talk to, when you go out, is that everyone's so frustrated, no one's happy, no one's smiling. That's the energy, like overall energy level in that environment. And honestly, because you're in that environment, you're constantly picking up energy from different people, different feelings and solutions, and uh, you know all your senses are kind of picking up the smell, the sound, the what you're breathing, what you're seeing, what you're feeling. You're picking up all of that energy. You might not be observant of it or realize it, but and that then becomes your baseline sort of energy level, and it completely shifts when I'm back home, so you're able to then differentiate it. And
Hmm. Okay.
that's what needs to change. Like that's what I think, that's
Yeah.
what needs
Yeah.
to change.
Yeah. I'm very stubborn that way. I'm very stubborn. I'm like, I will be the way I want to be wherever I go. And like you said, people get
Yes.
shocked.
Yeah.
People get shocked. They're like, okay, why is she being nice? Or like, how is she being so nice? Um, But then that's just something crazy that I do. Even if I'm having a bad day, I've noticed, I will still do that. I will still put
That's
on a
amazing.
face and I will still be like, hi, how are you? Or whatever. The
Yeah.
small
I
talk
can't do
happens.
that. It's so hard for me
It's
when I'm
hard.
having a bad day.
It's really, really
Yeah.
hard. It really sucks energy from you. Uh, but the reason why I put in an extra effort is because first impression is the last
Oh
impression.
yeah, that is so true.
You have to think that nobody should really get negative energy from you because you're having a bad day, because then like every time that they will think of you, they will remember,
Yeah.
she behaved like that.
I don't think first impression is the last impression, but I understand what you mean. How I look at it is that obviously the first impression you make is the sort of impression you create initially, and then whenever you meet that person again, they're going to look at you through that lens. Now you might
Yes.
not be that person, and it will take you some time to change that lens. And maybe it will happen after 10 or 15 meetings, that people come and say to you, maybe we're not as we want to be in the first impression, and after 10 meetings they come and say to you that, I just didn't think that you were in person when we met the first
Hmm.
time, and we've heard
That
this
happens.
many times. So I think it's very important, uh, the first impression, but because then the lens it creates, that's very hard to change eventually.
It
Yeah,
gets tough.
I just want to expand on this. Actually, both of you are right, but I just want to like fit in one thing over here. Actually, it's it's true that the first impression isn't the last impression. I mean, all of us are like open books, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time to read and understand and process, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, that book needs to have an interesting cover page,
Absolutely.
right? I
Absolutely.
mean, think of the world as a
Yeah.
library
Yeah.
and think of all of us as books.
Yeah.
And on the surface, like how we look, how we dress, how we talk, and what our tone is and what our vibe is, is our book cover. So for anyone to, like how Parmeet then said that in the next 10, 15 meetings, but even like how to get there, we need to have like an interesting cover page. So that is I feel like with both things combined, you are definitely like a open book, but at the same time having a cover page which excites someone, inspires someone, gives them something. Like all of us like are friends because we give each other some sort of
Value.
value.
Yeah.
That's why we are. So that cover page should just like clearly say that, hey, I'm Anas, and this is what I bring to the table. And if you decide to open that, like this book and read, you're gonna find a lot of bad chapters, a lot of good chapters. But like after reading 10 to 15 pages, you'll get to know me.
But that's the thing about Anas, I mean, even though he says that if he's having a bad day, he won't make in the effort with friends, he could be going through hell,
No, no.
but he will still show up and show up
Yeah.
with such
I
fervor.
swear that if that was true, that is not true.
It is. I know there are 10 things going on in your head, but you will still always be there to give advice and
That's one
talk me
thing
through
about him.
something.
Like if he shows up, he's not gonna be there like 50%. If he commits to
Hmm.
something, he's there 100%, and
Yeah.
uh and
That
that's
is
what.
you guys as well, and it's that this is the teamwork and this is the inspiration. Because honestly, because you guys are also doing the same thing, so that would be really selfish of me to give 1% less. This is the mindset, to be honest.
No,
Yeah.
but I think I think he goes a little extra. He goes the extra mile in a
He is
very good way,
very thoughtful for sure.
extremely
And
thoughtful.
it's like the things he does, honestly. When Rogers, one of my friends who's going to come on the podcast later on as well, uh,
Hmm.
I introduced him to Anas, and he was flying back to Spain via Abu Dhabi. And I just asked Anas if you're free, please. He's a very close friend of mine. So and Anas understood that, and he told me, and I asked him if you can show him around. That'd be amazing. And even though it was a work day and everything, he planned like this whole itinerary. And I told Roger as well that. If someone's to show you around Dubai, it's Anas. Honestly, even I
Has
can't
to be.
show it to you properly.
Agreed, agreed.
And then something happened which it wasn't.
Yeah, actually, like I fell quite ill for 2 weeks, so I was
Yeah.
not able to. I was not able to be with him. I did apologize to Roger, and as Pramit said, like he's such a gem of a person. We're going to see him in the podcast as well, and but I couldn't meet him. But we still because he came, he followed the itinerary. I was with him throughout, and just
Exactly. Like you were always calling him, and he told me all of this. Like you were constantly on the phone with him, and I just want to put it out there, not just sick. Anas, like he was seriously ill, and
I was
it
just
wasn't possible.
apologizing to him. I said, sorry if I'm acting like a crazy possessed girlfriend, but like he was there, and this is what I love about Europeans as well. He's so fearless, so focused,
Yeah.
and he did everything. He had like a backpack and a hat carry. And Dubai is all about walking.
Right.
I was amazed. Like this guy traveled, like he did his whole Dubai thing in about 15 hours.
You're
He did it with a
serious.
backpack and like
Not
a hat
even
carry.
that. Like he was, Roger is on another level. That's why I
Wow.
like really like talking with him as well.
Then
He didn't sleep the night before, and then the flight was
Yes.
at 9 p.m. So he took the flight, and then in the flight, 14-hour flight, he didn't sleep again. And uh, if Roger finds anything free, he's gonna
Oh
make the
yeah.
make the most out of it. So had quite a few drinks here and there in the flight, and then he was in Dubai for 20 hours up the whole time, and then he took a 7-hour flight to Barcelona. He was up for like 2 3 days, and I told him so many times like I would literally die. And at the end of it, I sent him a documentary on why sleep is important. It's by the it's you guys know Matt Walker, right? Matthew
Yes.
Walker,
Yes, yes,
also known as
yes.
the sleep diplomat. So his documentary with Joe Rogan, it's phenomenal, just amazing. Highly recommended. We can maybe add it in the description as well of this video if
For
anybody
sure, we'll
wants.
add it in the description.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if anybody
And
wants to
I
watch
will
it.
watch that at a very sleep deprived state.
Yeah.
The irony of it, I'm sleep deprived.
Honestly, after I watched that, like put it, I put health as my foundation to everything. It's the foundation to everything, and sleep is a big part of that. And he really talks about any proofs and backs it up with evidence and scientific research that why sleep is so important. And Anas has done a lot of research on this as well, and he's shared this on his own page.
Yeah, I have a YouTube video on that as well.
We'll link that as well. I think it's very insightful and people can learn a lot
Sleep is a
from
pillar.
it. Yeah, but another thing, Hiral, I wanted to ask you was we had a discussion about a month ago, and we recognized that I was somewhere I was lacking was nutrition, and you were lacking with fitness, and then we decided to kind of
Hmm.
collaborate there as well in a way where you sent me. I was so touched the uh, recipes you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yes.
on another level. uh, and honestly, like I haven't had the chance to see. It's because I'm
Because
See,
doing
see,
so much.
see,
he's a busy
No,
boy.
I'll
see.
tell
It
you.
will
I'll
be.
tell you. I'll tell you, Hiril, because it's
The
I
tables have turned.
You at
cooking.
least make an omelette. At least one breakfast recipe.
Yeah, I it's
Yeah.
cooking and all takes up so much of my time, and it's just like so I stick. For now, I've been sticking to what I already make, like cooking, then eating, then cleaning. This honestly takes up 2 to 3 hours of my day, which is a lot, right? And if you're when you're living alone, you need to do these things, and obviously you
Hmm.
can't be eating out all the time. But thanks a lot for sharing this. And I shared a fitness sort of plan with you as well, the things you can do. So
Yes.
how's that going?
I mean, he
Sorry
gave
to
me
put you
exactly
under
what.
pressure, but
No, no, no. I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm somebody who, needs to be surrounded by the right kind of people to get me to do things. I'm not always somebody who does everything by self drive,
yeah,
and that's why I got into this field because I understand the importance of, um, coaches in people's lives. And that's why I study nutrition because I realize that a lot of people need an extra push. So for me, I do need a push as well for the exercise side of things. And he gave me a plan that was really simple, easy to follow, nothing complicated, because I do believe that fitness shouldn't be complicated. It shouldn't
yeah.
be something that intimidates you and makes you think, yeah, I have to get my bearings together to go to the gym. And so yes, I think he really factored in that aspect for me and came up with a very smooth routine for me to follow, given my body type, given that I'm
Did
at my
you
very.
Yes.
follow though? Have you been
Huh?
following? Have you been
When
following?
I started push. Today I'm supposed to do pull, so
Okay,
I'm on the track.
I hope you do. I asked her like, how many days can you do? How much time can you do? And all of that because I don't want to give her. So based on that, I think 3 days is very much sustainable, even if you're not a fitness freak like I am, who goes to the gym like 10 times a week. But
Please, come on! Like I did that is some other level, other level.
yeah,
No, mashallah. I mean, for me, in these recent 2 3 years, I've seen personally is has just turned this fitness scale up a notch, which is just so inspiring to us boys as well.
Yes,
I, like us, we have a group of guys
boys, yeah.
that we have since we, it's by the name of Banu Bachot. So
oh,
yeah,
I didn't know
so
this.
that's it's and all of us try to inspire each other, and in that I was having a discussion with another fellow member from that group, and we were
Acha.
just inspired by him and his journey towards fitness
Yeah.
and his commitment towards fitness. And
Honestly,
I think we're going to see a lot of that. He has a lot of things coming up. He's going to let us know about it. We're super excited for him, and that's just inspiration because of him. I'm going to push myself as well
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he is the one laying the foundation for this. He's the one doing this, so it helps a lot. Like you said, having a mentor, having a coach who's already done this,
It
so that we can
helps.
learn from his, like
Yes.
wherever he could not, achieve his certain goal and what was the reason for that, and then he can better guide us. So pretty excited for his things
and
on
likewise,
forward.
like we do that in different ways for each other. And I genuinely just like here as well, I push my friends. Tomorrow I'm running a half marathon, but by the time this episode comes out, I would have already done that. It's on at the same time as the first episode is coming out. So I'm doing that tomorrow, and I convinced two of my other friends to join me who don't really. One of them goes to the gym, but the other one doesn't go to the gym, doesn't have any fitness routine or anything like that. But I really convinced him a month ago, and I just purchased a ticket for him, and then we trained for a month, and then now he's doing it. So it just really makes me so happy. And then you connect on a different level. When you add some value to someone's life and it leads to growth mutually, you genuinely value that friendship and you connect on a different level. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's
Of
that's
course.
that's the only kind of friendships you should have. But
And I
in
think
turn,
exactly mutually beneficial in a way that's non-malicious, like, oh, I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
get something out of this, but it's like you genuinely want the person to become better,
yeah,
like we have this sort of a thing
Oh
going
yeah, for
on. Yeah.
sure.
yeah, there's no like, oh, okay, if he does this or she does this, I will get this out of this. Like, yeah, it shouldn't come from that place, because then it's just, yeah, it wouldn't work. But if he genuinely likes put in the effort to help them find a way to become a better version of themselves, then people really see that and understand
Touche,
the,
brother, touche.
yeah.
I think that was a
uh,
very lovely ending note.
Yes,
yeah,
100%.
so I think this was a lovely, lovely, lovely conversation. Is there anything else? I've covered everything. Is there anything else, Anas, you wanted to touch on?
I would just like to thank Heeral. I mean, she's been such a huge support to both of us. And as everyone can see, what a wholesome and what a holistic sort of relationship that we have.
100%.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and just thankful to you for introducing me to her. And, thankful to you for taking your time out. I mean, both of us know how busy you are, especially since this is the third day, hopefully the last day. So,
Third
yeah,
take.
man, I
Yeah.
just want to say thank you. Keep doing what you do, and yeah, and I just want to add this here that Hiral is going to be one of those guests which is going to be recurring on our
Yes.
podcast.
Yeah.
We
Because she's
always
so close to our hearts and we relate so much.
absolutely
And there's
Aww.
so much to talk about. But genuinely, yeah, we just love Heeral. We have so much love and respect and admiration for her. And she's so kind and humble, which is what I take from her. That really inspires me in her, that kind of energy. So,
Oh my
uh,
God. Kind
yeah,
and
you
humble.
are very kind and humble, and it just kind of inspires me in a way. But that being said, everyone go check out Heeral's page. She's on multiple platforms. Heeral Shivnani, is it on Instagram, and
Yes, you're showing on Instagram.
same on YouTube?
Same on YouTube.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
Yes.
we'll
I
add
think
the
if
link.
you go on Insta, we can add the link as well. You can find all her pages. She's
Yes.
doing amazing stuff,
And of
and
course, my nutrition page, don't forget to share that as well.
Of course.
yes, and there's a lot that is going on as well, and it's coming up, and we'll share that in the coming episodes. There's honestly a lot of things I
And if
wanted to
you
talk
want
about as well.
like dance routine, yeah, and if you want dance routine for your wedding or your mehendi dances, look up her.
Heeral was the official choreographer for my brother's wedding, which was
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah. I forgot about
2021.
the one. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
so
is my
she did.
other side vertical going on right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, yeah. She's doing a lot of stuff. So just check her out,
I'm
guys.
losing how many verticals I have, huh?
Yeah, she's doing a lot of stuff, which is good. So just check her out, guys, and then please support us in any way you can. Engage with us. We just want to get the conversation going. If me, Anas, or even here can help you in any regard, be it nutrition, fitness, or whatever, please reach out to us, talk to us, and like, share, subscribe, however you can engage with us. And we would really appreciate that. And have a nice week, and we will see you next Sunday.